Alright, welcome back to Chain Soldier Anime Review, episode number 10. Yeah, it's been a couple years since I did the first season of the show. Because I don't think back then I had this green screen behind me. No, I don't think. I think I got the green screen after that. So, I heard that I was going to get season 2, and I think initially, then I eventually heard, oh, it's come out. It took a bit of time to get more info about this series, and then it came out. Except it wasn't Hideout. I had a problem being Hideout. That's what the first season is from. That was the problem. The problem was basically I was waiting for the dub, and for some weird reason, not sure why, I don't know if this is standard. This must be standard project practice for Hideout to do this. I should point out though, the episode I'm talking about, which was called The Commander's Meeting, by the way, this episode came almost 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months. Just back when Aniplex America, when they did their dubs. I remember, I think it was the Hot Training arc, I think it was. The first episode dubbed of that particular arc was not released until the same day the last episode sub was released. It was that bad. So, this episode covers chapters 46 to 48, along with the first 10 pages of chapter 49 and pages, well, technically in a way, 16 to 18 of chapter 67. So the beginning of the episode is interesting. So this must be a complete anime original. So we basically start off with Yuki doing chores. Like, he's cleaning, and then he's asked by what is Natalie Rial's character's name? Because of course someone very important to her debuts this episode. No, not that one. Himari. Yes, Himari. And this is Natalie Rial's character. Ask him, oh, can you wash my clothes? Okay. And then, of course, basically, then Nell asks him to do some. He also has to cook some breakfast, a special ramen. And Nell asks him to, excuse me, check the supplies. Oh, and you probably think, is Nell still voiced by? Yep, still voiced by Chris McGuire. Great character she is. And then Shushu, and this is the character voiced by Juliet Simmons, asks Yuki for a massage. And she does it in her giant form. And then Himari comes in. Says, you want shoes only with mine. And then I had to move with the commander. They're like, oh yeah, and they're about to fight. And then they're called away for a fight with Shuki. Which of course basically, and also those eight civilians came into that realm. Which was two sisters, and of course they're saved by two sisters, obviously. Because of course Himari's sister is here too, because of course she is. Because of course basically her older sister, not that one, Yoichiro, has sort of a mild obsession with her younger sister. Now, here's the thing. Despite the fact she's the older sister, has anyone pointed out this girl that she's short and she's got a small chest? Yep, and they see the girls, and then not only after this, time to go to the commander's meeting. So Yuki's told, oh, don't make contact with the commander, and then, of course, basically, we're introduced to the first of the commanders here, and this is Mira Kamaton, very beautiful woman, commander of the 2nd Division Corps. And she's voiced by Kristen Godry. And she sees Yuki, and she's not. Oh, but before this, we do see the commander of the 6th Corps, Tenka is giving, get this, so she goes to visit Yuki's sister, who's basically a transfer person, but on their side. Of course, mentioned the two gods kidnapped the two friends last season. And called her sister, despite the fact that she and Yuki are not married. And she's like, what? But I think it was great to see Yuki's sister here. And then, in the case of Mira, she's like, oh, shape up. And then she just proceeds to tie his shoe. And then they go in, and then they meet Belle Tasico. This episode is voiced by Savannah Mizell. Yeah, and she's very nervous. And the Fackers group was basically defeated by a bunch of Shiki, which is teaser in the episode. And then of course, Ever goes in. Ever introduced to everybody else. We have Kanomi Taro takes over as the commander of the first corps after the previous one, Ryu Minori, who's voiced by Mercy Banner. And in the case of Komi, she's voiced by Anna Wilde. Yeah, I'm going to see her too. Okay, we're also introduced to Yakumo Enzo, and she's voiced by Ellen Elise Evans. And there's also Fubuki Aza, this very beautiful bossman, this beautiful woman who's 38. And YouTube, I was like, wow, she's young. And get this. This is Himori's mom. I'm like, damn. I guess, okay, there is a term for this type of woman. She is a MILF. The hot mom. Yes. Oh, yeah, and of course, she will be involved with Yuta. Don't worry about that. We're introduced to Vera Pamiko, who does briefly speak in the episode, voiced by Shelby Mary Blocker. And then we're introduced to the commander, the supreme commander of the Anti-Demon Corps. Her name is Ren Yasushiro, and she's voiced by Christina Kelly. Now, technically, she came in episode 1, but this is more of a proper debut. You see it briefly. Now, Christina Kelly is notorious, is basically very famous when it relates to this series, because she was also in another series, and she pointed this out online, and I kind of forgot she was in this series, given the fact that she, well, was in that one, and she has a great deal of voice as character. By the way, she's only 34. And yet she was in this particular series. Her very first role. And get this. I didn't realize this. That the creator. I almost gotta forget this. The creator of Kame ga Kill is also the creator of Chain Soldier. Which makes her probably the only person who's been in both anime. And you're like, wow. I'm like, that is interesting. You probably think, like, was anybody else from the original one appearing in this one? Well, now in the case of the lead voice actor, he hasn't anything since 2016. I think he's retired. Molly, of course, is still acting. Oh, by the way, Christina Kelly in Akame ga Kill, she was the voice of Mine. Yes, she was the voice of Mine. And she was a big fan of the show, and now she's here. And I'm like, I'm sure anybody who's seen Akame ga Kill, and he'll be like, wait, she voiced a character from Akame ga Kill? And today, this is probably going to be a fun fact with this series. Christina Kelly is the only one who actually has appeared in both series, voicing characters. Oh yeah, and of course when Shizuki, she goes, "Great look," and mention, oh yeah, and of course all the failure, I'll mention with the gods, some maybe defeated, and then Belle gets teased by having her panties pulled down for everybody, and of course the commander snap like defeated, and then Rin goes up by herself to, oh by the way, for all this, for that reward for that battle, Yuki's reward is to have his legs stretched and then have the commander lick his chest. And then he responds by licking her groin as her reward for being the master. And then, of course, Ren goes out, deals with a bunch of terrorists, and then, at defeating all of them, you're probably thinking, like, who's the voice of these people? No idea. So basically, at defeating all of them pretty easily, and of course, Yuki's like, "Oh, she reminds me of my sister." And then, of course, basically, Yuta's reward for just transforming the commander of this area is to have his face buried in the commander's chest. And it's like, that's all he gets because that's all he did. And then, of course, Ren becomes very interested in him. End of the episode. Oh boy, I am looking forward to stuff happening here. Oh yes, I am. But surprisingly, no nudity this episode. I'm like, that's surprising, because the first season had nudity, lots of nudity. This episode surprisingly didn't have any, which I was quite surprised about that. Well, I know there's an uncensored version on another side. Well, I'm not going to mention that right now, but this episode, in my opinion, was really good. And I think it'd be quite interesting if Molly Cerisi, who is a comic herself, if she come up with this series, because she joined Christina, which I think would be awesome. Yes, I definitely think so. And also, yes, Monica Rial is back as her character, who is the air character who's like the sixth, basically some of her sushi. Yeah. So we got a scene, kind of, where we have the two real-life sisters, Natalie and Monica, sharing a scene together, but they don't interact. But they are in the same scene together. Which makes this show now one of two series that I'm reviewing where Monica Rial does a role, currently reviewing-wise. The other being Jack of all trades. I'm like, that is so interesting to say at least. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. I will see you tomorrow for Radio Soldier, Jujutsu Kaisen hopefully, and Easygoing Defense, Territory Defense by Optimistic Lord. Expect those views tomorrow, okay? See you. Bye.